Evening. I'd like to call a meeting to order, special called meeting of Mayor and Council. We have several excused absences this evening. Mayor Wood is not here. Councilwoman Diamond has an excused absence, and Councilman DiPolito. So we will proceed with the second reading and public hearing on the millage rate for the FY 2014 budget. It was read at the first reading. It will be read again at the second reading. Tonight is merely a hearing, and we'll first off have a report from the Finance Department.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is our second millage rate hearing, and I just have a brief presentation to provide you some overall information about our millage rate for the FY 2014 proposed budget. As you might remember, our property tax revenue amount is based on an estimated digest. Our digest assumes a 15% decline in our motor vehicle digest. The proposed budget does include shifting a portion of our debt service millage rate, 0.405 mils, from the debt service rate to the M&O rate to help fully fund maintenance capital, as well as some other increasing costs. This shift in the millage rate has no impact on the property tax bill. As you can see, this shows you an average home in the city of Roswell with an average value of $250,000. You can see the proposed chart at the bottom. It shifts $40.50 from the debt service portion to the M&O portion for a net zero impact. This next slide provides you a history of the total millage rate for the city of Roswell over the last 10 years. As you can see, over the last 10 years, our total property tax rate has either been reduced or maintained over those 10 years. With this shift of 0.405 mils to our M&O rate, that would give us a new M&O rate of 4.464 mils. And as you can see, that would still leave the city of Roswell as having the lowest M&O rate among all North Fulton cities. Finally, our next and final meeting will be on Wednesday, May 29th at 7 p.m. That will include our second and final budget reading as well as our final millage rate hearing. And I'm available for any questions you might have. Thank you.
Are there any questions from council? Any questions from the public? This is the public hearing. Step forward, please.
Mayor Pro Tem, is this being timed?
Yes, this will be as a standard meeting. Comments will be timed. You have 5 minutes.
Can somebody set this up for me, please? Hi, how are you this evening? Oh, I just love to be here. You know that.
Can you state your name and address, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Price, good evening. City Council members that are here, good evening. Lee Fleck, Morton's Landing. Mayor Pro Tem, I believe that there were statements made last week during the budget hearing that were not properly qualified, and since Mayor Wood made statements in the media that the millage rate has remained constant over the last several years, I believe that such a legacy statement needs qualifications so that it is absolutely clear where we have come from and how that leads up to the proposed millage rate we are considering this evening. Allow me to read from the Consolidated Annual Financial Report dated June 30th, 2009. Specifically, at the end of the current financial year, unreserved fund balance of the general fund, and I reemphasize general fund, was $35,244,000. Now, Mayor Pro Tem, I've learned over the years that to really find out what's what in the city budget is to go to the smallest print available. and that this year is on page 29. The reality is, and so what I've done is I've blown that up so you can all see it, and I've compared it to last year. The reality is that there was $7.5 million this time last year in the general fund, and this year there's only $165,000, which is peanuts. It's not even worth talking about. So, this graph represents the reality of what's happened the last 4 years. This council administration has burned off $35 million worth of excess reserves in the general fund, as I predicted in 2009. This is not a conservative approach to budgeting, as the mayor has stated publicly. Now, Mayor Wood's public responses to the proposed millage increase look from the surface acceptable. However, once you delve in, as I show you there, and you scratch the surface, something stinks. It's called wood rot. This past weekend, I got a rather interesting advertisement from Terminex, and it says, "It can take up to 5 years to notice signs of termite infestation." Well, that's exactly what's going on in the city of Roswell with their budget. The cause of this wood rot has not been Mayor Wood's doing alone. This wood rot has been the result of termite infestation by the members of Roswell City Council, who, as the governing body, over the last 5 years have authorized burning through $35 million in excess reserves, thus eating away at the financial foundation of the city of Roswell at an unprecedented and unfavorable pace. And mind you, there is more to come. Now, this is a city document. This is not something that I developed. Okay? And, as it shows very emphatically, the millage rate that you're talking about tonight for the general fund is going from 4 to 4.4. But it also shows it going up in 2 years again, another 0.6 mils. That means over the last two, that with this millage rate increase and the one in 2016, you're talking about $100 per 100,000 of assessed value. It's going up. What gravely concerns me is right up here, this one-time capital. You can see this one-time capital is evaporated. Now, the bottom line is, it doesn't really matter what the heck has happened in the last 10 years, or what is going to happen, or what has happened with regard to millage rate that you keep quoting, or reserves, as I keep quoting. The reality is that I would like to know what the city is going to do in 2005 and years thereafter to generate $9 million, which is your average burn rate that you've experienced in the last 5 years. Thank you. That's it for this evening. I will be back at the next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Fleck. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment or ask a question? Seeing no hands. Any questions from council? Are there any other announcements or business for this evening? That being noted, we will conclude the meeting of the public hearing on the millage rate for the FY 2014 budget.